What's up, folks? Sean, the Average Angler, and today we have a fishing report. All right. This is going to cover the last 2 weeks on the California Delta. I was fortunate enough to get out both weekends. Had a good time on both. Caught quite a few fish, a few good ones. The bite seems to be changing a little bit right now. One thing I will talk about that's kind of fading for me. Now, mind you, I'm fishing early in the day, okay? Not in the evenings. I'm fishing first light till about noon when the activity really picks up out there and kind of, well, where I'm fishing, it messes it up, okay? Changes the color of the water, it just makes it terrible, and then the fish don't seem to bite for me. I catch the little ones at that point, and the good ones quit biting. So, first, let's talk about what's changed. The frog bites have gone way, way down for me. I was catching a lot of frogfish on a black, can't remember what it's called, midnight maybe, Berkeley Swamp Lord popping frog. And those bites were coming right on the rock levee wall, right up tight. Didn't have to be grass, just right up tight to the rock wall. That's kind of fading away. At least this past 2 weeks, it wasn't what it was prior. And last week was better than this week. So, what do I attribute it to? Cooler nights, shorter days. Do I still think there's some big frogfish to be caught? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so let's get into what did work. And let's go with what I started out catching them first. And that's a good old tried and true trusty favorite. And I talked about this not too long ago. And I didn't have these in the boat. I grabbed them as I was on the way out the door, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to throw the old Rhythm and Blues Robo Zipper. And there you have it, okay? Like a 3/16 ounce, non-pegged weight, okay? And again, just throwing it where I was getting those frog bites. Now, there were certain stretches where I'd bang, 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 catch a lot. And then I'd hit some stretches where I was void for a while. Now, I was throwing this 15-pound test on an IROD IRA 754. This is the IROD Air Series. Super sweet rod. Great for pitching. Lots of power. The rod's light. Good, accurate casting. And that is paired with this very expensive $28 Cast King Spartacus reel. I did a test a while back, and I was really amazed at how well this reel performed. And quite honestly, I have Daiwas over there that have come off of rods and they're just waiting to go back on. I like it. And that's actually 15-pound big games on that. They eat it just fine. All right, that bite was early from sunup till about 9:30. And then that bite kind of faded away. But we also had a dropping tide. So as that tide bottomed out, when it started coming back in, it didn't seem to pick the bite back up. All right. The other one I was mixing in with that, punching, and I grabbed the wrong rod. But I was punching. Another IROD Air Series. It's a 775, which is a Bubs flipping and pitching rod. Rated up to 2 ounces. Super light flipping rod, 7.7. I tend to like a little shorter rod for punching. As I get older, I just don't like the extra length. I don't need it. I got enough length as it is. I'm 6'4", so it's not really an issue. Anyway, I was throwing a custom color on it. You know, they sell it in the 25 pack. BLKT. And I think it's like a green pumpkin watermelon red type. Maybe? I don't know. And Love Bug. Love Bug was good early. They were really chewing on the Love Bug. All right. Next, and the stellar performer for the day was this bluegill Evo Chatterbait with that chatter spike, whatever they call it, and just a bluegill pattern trailer. This is the one bait that got bit throughout the day. And I'll give you some more details on that in just a second. This, I was throwing on an iRod Quercus. This is like the next line down, under the air. $199 price point. It's the IQ 733 V. V for vibrating jig. All right, you could also call the Wild Card bladed jig rod. This was designed by Brandon Card. The Quercus is one of my favorites. Actually, I like them all, but I mean, I don't know. I just like the Quercus. I like the writing. I don't know. Dumb, whatever. The performance of the rod was phenomenal. Again, castability was important in placing it where you needed to. Some of the windows where I was catching fish are tight, so you have to be accurate. There's plenty of power in the rod, but it casts really, really easy, which makes that accuracy a little easier to do, and plenty of power to get the fish back to the boat. Again, 16-pound fluorocarbon on that one, Sunline. The punch rod, I was throwing 18-pound Sunline shooter. Yeah, I know. I go a little lighter than a lot of people, hoping to get a few more bites. Does it work? I don't know. No one was with me. All right. Big fish producer of the day. But this bite was changing a bit too. And I'll tell you how that was changing in just a second. It was the old double buzz with a horny toad on the back. Okay, gold blades, white. Does the gold make a difference? I don't know. It's the only one I threw. Throwing that on the iRod IQ 744. It's a Bass Warriors Workhorse, it's called. This is a great Delta rod because it really can be used for so many techniques, and it just performs flawlessly for pretty much everything I use it for. Lately, I've really liked it on the buzzbait. I have 2 of these. I'll also throw spinnerbaits on it if I'm getting spinnerbait fish. Bigger topwaters. The buzzbait it's phenomenal for. If you want to throw like a zoom horny toad, something like that. Some sort of buzz frog works really well for that. Works great for frogs. It's not really per se a frog rod, but it's a great frog rod. All right, so the buzzbait bite, again, seems to be fading a bit over previous weeks. Last week I had a lot of really good fish on it. This week they were a little farther and fewer between. And the way they were biting it was much more reserved. Last week it was really violent. This week it was much more, I'm going to give it a go, but I'm not really committed to it type of bite. So I threw a few other things, didn't have any success on them. Doesn't mean it didn't work somewhere else. I only took casting rods with me. I did not throw a spinning rod. And it kind of felt like it could have been a Senko type of day. But I threw the spinnerbait. Whopper plopper. Jesus criminy, I can't remember. Sakamana shad. Yeah. Oh, and a swim jig. Those items I did not get bid on. Did not see followers when I reeled them up. Yeah. So that was my trip with the Delta. Water temperatures, when I launched, was about 74. Pretty much stayed that way through the time I was there with the incoming tide and all. I think you got up to 75. I fished south per se, meaning I launched at Lazy M and fished from there south. I was off the water by 12:30, I think. Yeah. So that's my report for the Delta. I really do look for some things to keep changing. We get a little bit more cooler weather. I really would expect the spinnerbait bite to pick up, and I'd expect the squarebill bite to pick up. I did see a lot of shad. There's a lot of shad down there in the system. Mostly saw it at low tide when things were starting to bottom out. They didn't look too freaked out, so at the time when I ran into them, they weren't being pursued or hunted, and they were right out in the middle of things. So it's good to see the shad around. It's been quite a while. I haven't fished the Delta a whole ton, but it's been a while since I've seen groups of shad like that, so it's really good to see that. I think the system's healthy. I didn't catch any giants. I caught a lot of really solid fish. The fish are healthy. They're doing well. I think the Delta was on a downswing the last few years. I'm going to say I think it's starting to turn. Okay, I think things are starting to improve. I did see some good grass, a lot of nuked grass as well. But there's some good grass in there, whereas before I wasn't seeing a whole lot of that without running a ton of miles. So, yeah, I think we're on an upswing. Hopefully it continues. I'll keep giving reports as long as I'm getting out there. If you like this kind of content, subscribe, click the like button, share with your friends, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.